6 years and 2 E3s later, here we all are. Grand Theft Auto for hackers is finally upon us. The dogs are watching and it's all down to the review process from here. Will Watch Dogs be able to compete with other open world titles like Grand Theft Auto? Or will it be just another mishap in gaming history? Let's find out. In Watch Dogs, you play as Aiden Pierce, a gray hat hacker vigilante who uses his unique skills to track down potential crimes and prevent them. He's kind of like Batman if Bruce Wayne were placed in a cyberpunk future and given a Galaxy S5 with free reign. Anyways, leading up to release, consumers were fascinated with the prospect of being handed a set of godlike hacking capabilities and left to roam free in an internet-connected world. Other hooks included Watch Dogs' purportedly breathtaking visuals, and the immaculate world of Chicago recreated faithfully before your very eyes. Because of some recent issues with console releases, Thief, Wolfenstein, I decided to go with the PC release this time. Little did I know that I was going to have several problems, and I wouldn't be able to play the game for a few hours before I got things looking presentable. As you can see, it looks pretty goddamn good at this point. I've got the knobs cranked up to full capacity, ultra on everything, anti-aliasing, ambient occlusion, the absolute works. I also adore the inclusion of motion blur and depth of field. Seriously, why don't more games implement these things? They make a world of difference. As for the hell I went through trying to get the game to look nice, it turns out all my problems were due to an outdated NVIDIA driver. So I decided to update to the latest beta driver from NVIDIA's website, and lo and behold, problems solved. I'll try not to hold the driver issues against the game. After all, it does look absolutely gorgeous. Textures are highly detailed, shadows aren't too jaggy, and the dynamic lighting has got to be some of the best I've ever seen. Running games like this at 60 FPS is one of the reasons we have cards like the NVIDIA Titan on the market. On very rare occasion, I do get some texture flashing off in the distance, but this happens with a lot of games for me, and I've been told it's a common side effect of gaming on an SLI setup like my own. Oh well. Watch Dogs actually surpasses some of the leading open world titles in some pretty key gameplay aspects. Let's take a look at a couple of those. For one, there's the driving. Take a look at this short vehicle segment for a dose of what to expect. Have you ever felt the G-force pull of an A plus J turn? Probably not, because in reality, some of the stunts you see on TV, they're not so easy to do. They'll flip your car or at least heavily damage your car, not to mention your tires. And this difficulty is well represented in Watch Dogs. I'm not really one of those guys that likes to tout realism as an important game component, but in this case, I was pleasantly surprised by how closely vehicles in Watch Dogs matched reality. They feel heavy, like they should. They fishtail around, like they should. Combat is another area where Watch Dogs surpasses its colleagues. Gunplay is tight and focused, taking cover and trading fire is essential, and much like the driving, combat is dialed back to reality more so than games like Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row. When I'm thrown into a shitstorm on the streets of Chicago and find a way to overcome it through sheer combat precision and willpower, I get that familiar rush of success we all know too well. Sometimes I just sit back in my chair and think, damn, I'm good. Kinda reminds me of that one moment in American Psycho where Patrick Bateman takes on the police. With those positives in mind, there is one major drawback that I cannot believe they missed. This is something that's in most open world games like Grand Theft Auto and Saints Row. There is no way to replay a mission without starting the game over. There's no way to do a mission select, a challenge or trial run. It's fucking ludicrous that this is missing. How do you miss something so crucial to the replay value? This takes the replay value down several pegs. Hacking concepts are actually handled well for a change. I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime. Do you recall that other hacking-centric game that came out last year? Remember Me? Yeah, I didn't think so. The irony here is delicious. Watch Dogs does everything that game attempted about 10 times better. Sure, the targeting can still be pretty wonky, but we're definitely starting to make progress with these cyber warfare games. It's always been difficult to smoothly implement systems where the player interacts and controls his or her environment. An example of where it worked would be Singularity. By targeting parts of the environment, you could speed up or rewind time to make items crumble or revert to their original state. It worked in Singularity because items weren't closely spaced, and activating the ability was a simple bumper click. In Watch Dogs, you are near constantly surrounded by things you can hack, and the opportunities only become wider scale as the game progresses. This makes targeting the right items somewhat of a hassle on occasion. Using the hacking feature also requires a 2-second press of a certain button. 2 seconds may not seem like a long time, but in a car chase or a life or death situation, it can mean everything. I can't help but think that double tapping would be more beneficial than a timed press. Nitpicking aside, hacking and environment control is handled a hell of a lot better than most, if not all, the games I've seen with similar components. We just haven't really reached that nirvana stage yet. Call me crazy for trying to review a game before I know how it ends, but I just got too wrapped up in the side missions, the crime prevention, and all those odds and ends to actually finish the main story. That's just generally how I play these games. And with that said, most of the time the ending doesn't really change my opinion on a game. It's very, very rarely happened. But if that does happen, I will make a follow-up video to update you, I promise you. From the dozen or so hours of narrative I have played, I will say this. The vigilante aspect is handled well, merging cohesively with events going on outside cutscenes. A few choice sequences were devilishly on par with GTA in terms of badassitude. And voice acting is top-notch in some cases, such as Aiden and his friend Jordy.
Don't worry, I still have to restore the power, and then we have to find an entrance. I'll see you soon.
However, for other characters, the acting can be,
I'm not scared. No one asked me to stay.
lackluster. Yeah, that's the word. Furthermore, secondary characters will occasionally throw a mouthful of exposition at you, and plenty of sequences feel downright hand-holdy. Watch Dogs isn't really the kind of narrative that leaves ambiguity for the player to mull over. It's, by and large, moderately straightforward. Not to say that's entirely a bad thing, but just don't expect this to be the next Breaking Bad. Watch Dogs is one of the best-made open-world games in recent memory, and has left its mark on the next generation of video games. It has also demonstrated both in sales and ratings that there is a market for advancing gaming hardware. Unfortunately, it does fall a few pegs short of perfection, but it's a strong and impressive effort that would be an enjoyable addition to your library. There haven't been many truly impressive titles released in 2014 as of yet, but Watch Dogs is definitely one of them. If you can manage to get your hands on a copy, I would recommend this solid 4 out of 5.
Wait a second.
Feel free to like my Facebook page for behind-the-scenes material, and follow me on Twitter for general channel updates.